What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream. Happy Monday, people. Happy start of a new week. The transfer window is back open as well, people. After that first 10 days seemed to just fly by Arsenal. Arsenal didn't even acknowledge it. The window is back open again. This is the official transfer window worldwide. That first one was sort of opened early. Well, for clubs in the Club World Cup, but anybody was able to actively go and sign players. It's just Arsenal decided to ignore it. And I have to admit, man, I'll be totally honest, people. Usually, I mean, is it actually? I'm trying to think. What I'm trying to say is that the transfer window is becoming sort of draining already. And the window's only officially opening properly today. That first one was just a little mini window. And I'm already like, yo, man, come on. When are you actually going to do something that the fans can be excited about and, give us something to smile about and give us an exciting signing, man? We've signed exciting players sitting in the Europa League. We're Champions League again. And we ain't got no one. And listen, people say, oh, it's early in the window, things can change, blah, blah, blah. But listen, we're impatient people. How long are we supposed to wait for a big player to come in? We were told Champions League football is what we need to get the best players. I don't see the best players turning up. But hopefully it happens. Big up to everyone locked in, though. Hope you are well. I did change the title because I saw a story about Arsenal being linked with Brahim Diaz. And then I saw a story coming out of Spain that he was signing a new contract. And I'm like, he's signing a new deal. So are we really going to talk about Arsenal potentially signing him when he's on the verge of signing a new contract? I don't see it happening. I'll mention it briefly. Yeah, there was a link that Arsenal were going to go for Brahim Diaz, but he's signing a new deal, so I don't want to. One thing I'm very keen on this channel is to try not to waste people's time. And I always say, don't shoot the messenger. I'm only reporting the news. But if I just think it's a complete waste of time, I don't think there's any point even going over it. So there was a rumor, though, yesterday that Brahim Diaz would be allowed to go. But it's coming out of Madrid that he's going to sign a new deal, so I'm not going to go over it and start discussing it. So big up that, but that's why we changed the title. I hadn't seen the report coming out of Spain that he was signing a new deal. So yeah, big up to you guys for letting me know in the chat. Hope everyone's well. Hope everyone had a good weekend. What do we make of the Club World Cup? What do we make of it? I've watched a couple of games. It's not a new competition, but it's a new format. They're trying to build it into a World Cup for club teams, obviously by the name of the title rather than what they were doing before. It feels a bit wild at the moment. Like, the stadiums are quite busy. They slashed the ticket prices the week before to enable more fans to go. There's some good teams in it, some good players in it. It just feels like pre-season friendlies when I'm watching it. It hasn't captured me yet. It hasn't captured me yet. We always have to give it a chance because, you look at the Nations League, people said, yeah, nothing. Then you see the final of the Nations League and the semi-final, I'm like, rah, these are good games. It just hasn't captured me. And 10-0 yesterday, I mean, I think we could have made a team out of us in the chat that could have beat Auckland yesterday. 10-0 against Bayern Munich, man. What the hell was that? I think it might get better as the competition goes on. Once the bigger teams all get through the group and then they start playing against each other. I think at this stage, there are obviously some very weak teams in the tournament. So it may get better. PSG smashed Atletico 4-0. They are flying at the moment. There's no better team in world football than PSG at the moment. Do you know what, Sam? One thing I will say is I'm glad Arsenal are not in goal. In goal? I'm glad Arsenal are not in the tournament. Sorry. We got the. You know what? I was reading a comment as I was about to read that. I'm glad Arsenal are not in the tournament because I just don't think it would have benefited us. And I genuinely think this competition will have a knock-on effect on teams next season. How have you imagine playing a season until the end of May? They had a week off. They then went on international duty, 2 games. They had about 5 days off. Then they went to the Club World Cup, 3 group games. Then I think it's quarterfinal, semi-final, final. So you're looking at another 6 games if you get to the final. And then that takes you to the middle of July. The season starts in the middle of August. So you're going to need 3 weeks off minimum. You're going to come back a week before the season starts. You're going to try and do your pre-season during the start of the season. I'm telling you now, I am glad Arsenal are not in this competition. And they have got to take advantage of it, because every time Arsenal get an opportunity to take advantage of something, we don't do it. And they need to. Our players are done. No, international's done now. They are off. Pre-season doesn't start until July. Our players can get 4 or 5 week break. Go and have a full pre-season, come back firing at the start of the season. Arsenal have to take advantage of it. But at the moment, they're not. And I'll be honest, people, and I'm not trying to do this to panic or to create controversy. All that it's early in the window conversation, I'm not buying into that. I'm not. And I'm not buying into it because it's something that we've seen before. And when you see something happening over and over again, you should acknowledge the problem at the start, you know, and think, okay, we've seen Arsenal do this multiple times. Start a window, everyone tells you to be patient, and it drags on and on and on. Man City signed 4 players. Liverpool are about to sign Florian Wirtz. They've already signed Frimpong. They're going to get Gyokeres as well. Clubs who aren't in the Club World Cup are doing business, so we can't hide behind that. And yes, by the way, on Wednesday, we are doing a live stream for the fixtures. 9 a.m. I will be live 5 or 10 minutes before that. 9 a.m. the fixtures will come out, and we'll do a short half an hour, 40-minute stream looking over the fixtures. Not, do you know, for me, the fixtures don't mean that much, because you've got to play everybody anyway. Has the fixtures ever really helped us win something? Some people say, look, you want to get these teams out the way early because you're not firing and you get a lot. You don't want to play them at the business end of the season away from home. I do get that, but I've seen Arsenal have favourable fixtures and still not win the league. So does it make a big difference? But we will go live just before 9 a.m. on Wednesday, and we'll have a look. Me, myself, and I said this is the first time I've seen the best player on the market come out and say, I want Arsenal. That's what makes it more likely. Let's get into the show. We'll use that as the lead point of the show. Now, we spoke in great detail the other day about Victor Gyokeres, right? We spoke a lot about it. I did a Saturday night stream. Big up everyone who locked in. It was a great stream. Really enjoyed it. And we may do some more evening streams as well, actually, because it was good. There was different names in the chat as well who obviously maybe can't get in for the daytime streams because of work and so on and so forth. But we know Victor Gyokeres came out over the weekend and said, basically, I want to go to Arsenal. I don't want to go to Manchester United. Listen, we had a good laugh at the expense of Man United. However, if we're being totally honest, I don't know whether that statement actually changed that much. I don't know how much that changed, because Gyokeres can want Arsenal, but if Arsenal don't want Gyokeres, nothing at all has changed. We're in the same situation. It has to be a case of Arsenal going and getting him. So we'll just briefly go over it, and I'll sort of say the direction that has come out since then, and if anything has sort of changed, which it hasn't, is and you're right, Luis Suarez did want Arsenal, and then we started 40 million and £1 and all of that foolishness. So it doesn't really mean we're definitely getting him. So Fabrizio said Gyokeres' priority is to join Arsenal this summer, despite calls from Manchester United. Gyokeres always an option amid Sesko talks with no deal sealed so far. Arsenal keep assessing the situation. United remain keen, but believe the deal is now unlikely. I mean, when I saw this, I was excited. I went live. We said, yeah, man, Gyokeres, this is the one we want. But realistically, how much has changed? And then I saw Fabrizio kind of, I won't say backtracking, but he sort of made the situation seem like he favours Arsenal. He hasn't necessarily said he's definitely not willing to go to Man United, which was kind of the way it was being construed over the weekend. I think he's saying, listen, I would rather go to Arsenal than Man United. I prefer their setup. I prefer the fact they're in the Champions League. He's 27. Does he have time to go to Man United and go for a rebuild and blah, blah, blah? But it seems like that's not the case. It's more, Arsenal is my number one priority. But if that doesn't work out, Man United are still an option. So Arsenal, for me, have to figure out what they want to do. I don't understand how we're sitting here in the middle of June saying, well, they're talking to him and they're talking to him. If you want Sesko, go and get Sesko. Pay the money. Pay the money. Go and get him. If you want Gyokeres, go and get him. He's publicly saying he wants to come to Arsenal. Go and get him. Why are we still... And listen, it's Berta, so maybe we do things a little bit different. So we're going to get into that. You cannot join a football club after saying you were my second priority. You wouldn't think so. You wouldn't think so. It's crazy. Big up, Luke, man. Happy birthday to you, bro. Big up, man. Have a blessed birthday. And hope you have a good one. Before we do get into the striker talk, and the latest, by the way, when it comes to Gyokeres and Sesko, because it's a daily recurring theme at the moment, and it always seems to be the same point of discussion every other day. But one thing you know, Arsenal will not let you down on, people. Forget strikers. Forget new signings. If there's one thing Arsenal will not let you down on, if there's one thing they will deliver season in, season out. You guessed it, it's merch, people. It is merch. Brand new merch is out today. Fresh threads. Head to the Arsenal Direct and official Arsenal stores to shop our brand new training wear. They've come out with the green. It's the same sort of style as the blue one that they had last season. They then brought out like a purple one, was it? Towards the end of the season. And I think they've brought it out in green, and there's like a grey version as well. I think the green is the players version and the grey, or is it? Yeah, that I think this is for the staff. Yeah, there you go. Merch, people. Merch Monday. We just got no new players to wear it. That's the only thing. And how much is it actually? Let's have a look. Let's have a look. How much is the new merch? The new merch is let's go on the website. Shop here, training. Let's have a look. Let's come off that screen. Let's see how much it's basically a copy and paste of last season's. I bought the blue one last year at the start of last season. The new kit is 45 for the t-shirt. All the t-shirts are around 45, 65 for the sweatshirt, 38 for the vest, 90 for the pro version. Yeah, and 65. I think this is the staff one. I mean, what that one does? Why would you not have the Adidas badge there, but have it on both arms? That looks like one of them Wembley Market versions, man, where the Adidas badge ain't on it. I don't know about that one, but yeah. I'll be honest, you guys know me. You know me. Merch is especially training kit. It's a slight weakness of mine. I'll be honest. But I am annoyed with Arsenal at the moment. So at the moment, I'm not buying it. I'm fighting temptation. Plus, green training kit is a problem for me because the green screen goes wild on the green. So if anything, I'd have to get the staff version that the Arteta and them lot are gonna wear. The beigey grey version. So yeah, but there was a few people in the emails today saying, "Yo, bro, subscribe to your channel. They've got me with the merch." You know, if I wanted that merch, I'd have been at the Armory this morning. I'd be wearing it on this stream, but the whole striker situation's making me mad, people. Just give me my money. Man's itching to spend. Hey, I said it on Saturday night, people. If Gyokeres, I'd have been at that store 9 a.m. this morning. Full tracksuit, no messing around. But right now, nah, I'm staying away. I'm not happy with Arsenal at the moment. I'm really not happy. So the merch is we're not getting that right now until Kepa's announced. I'm joking, not Kepa. It's got to be Gyokeres. Anyway, let's talk strikers. Let's talk. I know the heat cap as a Knicks fan is wild. As I said, people, I'm not. When it comes to basketball, I'm a Heat and a Knicks fan, and I know they're rivals, so you can't really. I'm more of a player. I suppose I follow the players. It is shameless. It is shameless, you know. I always liked the Knicks, and then LeBron went to the Heat, and LeBron and Dwayne Wade, that partnership, I was kind of like, yo, man. And then I went Miami on holiday, and then so yeah. Forgive me, people. The Knicks fans won't be happy with me wearing the Heat cap today, but yeah, it is what it is. Right, let's talk about strikers that we're probably not going to get, but just in case we do get, we're going to cover all bases. So the latest with Victor Gyokeres, people. He's frozen. He's frozen, people. Arsenal have frozen talks with Sporting Lisbon over a deal for Victor Gyokeres. Sporting refused to lower this 80 million euros transfer fee, which, by the way, is how much is 80 million euros in pounds? Because that's probably Kai Havertz's money. 80 million euros in pounds is 68 million pounds. So you're not willing to pay 68 million pounds for one of the most informed strikers in world football, yet you paid 65 million for a failed midfielder that went up front and didn't do the business at Chelsea, and they couldn't wait to get rid of him. You gave him a 5-year deal on 275 at 65 million. But when it comes to Victor Gyokeres, you want to turn him into a snowman. Do you want to build a snowman? What's going on here? 68 mil, pay the money. Pay the money. We're lowballing again, probably trying to offer 50 million. What are we doing? What are we doing out here, people? Vert's going for 125 million. Defensive midfielders are costing 100 mil. He's the most informed striker in Europe alongside Mbappe. 68 millions, that's decent money in this kind of window. How much do they think they're going to get him for? I don't understand what's going on. I don't get it. They're asking for 68 million for him, and we're going, oh no, freeze him. Freeze him. We'll defrost him in a couple of weeks. I'm trying to figure out, because I'll be honest with you, people. There was a lot of excitement when Berta came to this football club. And I'm not saying this is Berta's fault, but I don't understand the strategy of Arsenal. A lot of the stories coming out of Arsenal are that Berta likes to negotiate two players at once and basically then put them on the table for the manager to just say, I want him, and the deal's already ready to go, rather than saying, give me your options and then I'm going to try and negotiate them. He gets them to the point of, we're ready to go. Now, do I think that's the right approach? I don't know necessarily. But it feels very scattergun with Arsenal. I like clubs to go, I want to sign him, negotiate aggressively, and sign the player. That's how big clubs should move, in my opinion. Look at other clubs around Europe, the big clubs. When Bayern Munich wanted Kane, people were like, Kane to Bayern. I don't know. He wants to stay in the Prem. They went bang, 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 got the deal done. Big offer, big wages, done deal. United wanted Cunha, other clubs interested. Release clause paid, big wages, done deal. I don't get this whole, oh no, 68 million. Let's freeze that one for now. We'll defrost that one later on. You know, like when you've cooked too much dinner and you think, I don't want to waste that. So I'm going to get one of them, tubs out of the drawer. I'm going to put that dinner in there. I'm going to freeze it for a later date. What? If you want Gyokeres, pay 68 million and sign Gyokeres. If you want Sesko, go and pay 60 odd million for Sesko and sign the player. It's RB Leipzig and Sporting Lisbon. No disrespect, especially to Sporting Lisbon, because they do have good history. Red Bull Leipzig, they're named after an energy drink. They've been around for about 15, 20 years. If you want Sesko, sign Sesko. How many days are we going to talk about it? By the time we sign one of these players, we won't even be excited. I'm telling you now, Liverpool fans are jumping around at the moment. Oh my God, Florian Wirtz, 125 million. And we're sitting here going, well, you know, freeze it and see if we want it next week. Yeah, frozen in June. Come on, man. What are we doing? Give us something to be excited about other than the new merch, which is available now on the Arsenal website. I'm joking. Listen. No, it is available, but it took us 10 weeks to get Marino, bro. Real talk. How long ago did we hear about Florian Wirtz to Liverpool? How long ago? 3 weeks? 3 weeks ago? The deal's pretty much done already. And that's the record transfer in Premier League history. And we're sitting here going, get a tub out and put it in the freezer. Anyway, he's frozen. They don't want to pay 68 mil. I'm not too sure how much they expect to pay for him. That's my question. He's Sporting Lisbon's best player. He's got a couple of years left on his contract. Along with Mbappe, he's got the highest numbers in European football this season. How much would you expect to be paying for him? I can't understand how cheap Arsenal think they should be getting him for. They would be crazy to allow him to leave for less than 60 odd million pound. They would be crazy, Sporting Lisbon. So I think we're within our right to say, as Arsenal fans, why do transfers take so long at Arsenal? Man City get linked with a player, the player signs within 2 weeks. Liverpool break the Premier League transfer record within 2 or 3 weeks. We're sitting here going, well, which striker should we go for in the middle of June? Every day we hear a different story. It's frustrating. I almost don't even want to talk about it. The competition for teams outside of Europe is too great, says Brian. It's difficult. You know, most players end up in Europe, especially because of the wages. Arsenal lit them blood clot head. That's a bargain. Bro, I'm telling you. 68 mil. I paid that. He should have been signed already if that's the price. Red Dust says, Curtis, if we pay more than Havertz's fee for a new striker, the manager is forced to start him. He can't have a 250k a week player on the bench. We've spoken about this many times, Red Dust, and it's part of the reason that I don't think he wants. Do you remember a couple of years ago when we did a stream on this channel when Edu did that interview on Sky? It was in the summer. And we were talking about, he was talking about Sambi Lokonga and Arsenal not wanting to sign a player that was sort of higher than Granit Xhaka at the time. So, and we were saying, why didn't he go for Bruno Guimaraes? And I think Arsenal have a similar situation now. Because they felt Xhaka was the man in that role, they didn't want to buy somebody that was going to be a big upgrade, because then that pressurizes them into having to bench him when he was fully backing Granit Xhaka. And I think they're in the same situation now. I think Arteta is saying, listen, Havertz is the guy this season, up front. So if we buy Gyokeres, that's big money, that's big expectation, that's a big ego and a big price tag. And we're not going to accept Gyokeres coming to Arsenal and sitting on the bench. If he gets Sesko, they will say he's 22 years of age. His numbers are not that big anyway. If he ends up on the bench, we're not going to be going crazy because we don't even know how good he is really. And that's my thought process as to how they're operating. Again, this is my opinion. Not everybody will agree with that, but that's what I think will happen. And that's what I think they're trying to do. What has caused the delay, in my opinion? I think Arsenal's plan was go and sign Sesko. And what has happened is RB Leipzig have sat there and said, right, let's look at the situation. They've missed out on Europe completely, which means they've lost out on a lot of money, right? They're looking at Florian Wirtz going for 125 million. They're looking at Ekatike being linked at 75, 80 million. And they're probably thinking, well, this is our crown jewel right now, and we've got no European football, and we know Arsenal desperately need a striker, and we know the Premier League money is big. We're going to charge a little bit more for him. And I think it's threw Arsenal off a little bit. They probably turned up and said, yo, we're going to get Sesko for 55, 60 mil. And they've gone, yo, 75 mil, hold that. And they've gone, boy, I don't know, all right, negotiate Gyokeres at the same time. And then they're juggling which one to go for. They're trying to play checkers and, poker face, sorry. And what they're trying to do, in my opinion, they've said, right, Leipzig are not moving. So what we're going to do, we're going to negotiate publicly with Gyokeres to apply pressure to Leipzig in the hope that they drop the price tag for Sesko. And at the moment, they haven't done that. And that's why we're still in this situation. As I said the other day, it's a real life Tom and Jerry situation. Cat chasing after the mouse, they're hoping one of them says, okay, actually, you can have him for 60 million because we can't risk the deal not happening. But that's a risky game. And I don't think big clubs should move like that. They should turn and say, yo, we want him. Let's negotiate. Okay, that's a bit more, but we're going to get the deal done. We got the money. We want him. That's the one the manager wants. Risky. Big up my bro, Fran, in the chat. Yes, community. Hit the like for my boy. Curtis passing through to show the support. Big up my bro. And he's coming to London in the next few weeks. Hopefully I'll be attending. He's got a seminar type thing. So big up. Make sure you follow Fran on 10 Trading, man. That Miami Heat cap is cold. Big up, bro. Bayern Real don't need a lot of players. They have squads. Sesko can give something different from Kane. Well, Bayern are being linked with Sesko apparently as a younger. But again, no, listen, I'm not, because Steve said, respect your opinion. This is assumption. Yeah, you're right. It is. I'm just trying to structure what I think is happening based off all the evidence suggests that Arsenal wanted Sesko. We went for Sesko. All the journalists were saying they're going for Sesko. They're in talks. Fabrizio said we was in talks, right? So we're going off what's been put out in the media. A week later, which was last week, it seemed to be diverting. You heard the Gyokeres stories. The Record in Portugal said we had a verbal offer turned down. Then he comes out and said, I want to go to Arsenal. Then it seems to be that. Then we're going to elaborate on another story today, which seems to be saying we're negotiating both. So I'm going off what we're reading, which is all we can go off, right? Sell that guy. He was never a striker in the first place. You're right. You're right. Nalay said, big up Big C in the community. I think I've done a Gabby Jesus. I was playing football. My cousin landed on my knee weird. Now I can't stand on it. I'm cooked. Get that looked at quickly, bro. I'm telling you, don't leave that. Because it can get worse. Arteta needs to be sent out on loan. He needs some coaching time. This guy cannot lead us to the promised land. Well, at the moment, we haven't seen the promised land. I think what I was about to say with Benjamin Sesko is the fact that Bayern want him when they've got Kane. I think that shows you the situation that they're in and how Sesko should be used. They're going to bring him in at Bayern. Kane will be the number one. Sesko can learn from him, get the substitute appearances, start some games and learn. I've said many times on this show, I've got no problem signing Sesko if you've already got a number one striker, because then you don't have to put that pressure on him and you can develop him. He is a good player. However, bringing him in and saying be the number one, I think that's too much of a risk. If you look around Europe at the moment, right? We want to win the Champions League. We want to win the Premier League. Look around Europe at the moment. Real Madrid, Mbappe up front. Barcelona, Lewandowski. Bayern Munich, Harry Kane. Manchester City, Erling Haaland. Salah is basically Liverpool's striker playing out wide. He'll get you 30 goals a season. And then even clubs like Atletico Madrid have got Alvarez and Griezmann. Everyone's got top quality strikers. Inter Milan, Lautaro Martinez, although I don't rate him, but he does get numbers. All these top clubs have got a gunman up front that can get you a goal at any moment, that can win you a game at any moment. Arsenal need at least one of them in their front three. They need at least one of them in their front three to give us that edge next season moving forward. Because we've drawn 14 games in the league. Now, with a killer striker, we might have won 6, 7, 8 of them games, and the title race looks different. We lost the league by 10 points. Could have been a very different situation if we had a 20-goal striker. So that needs to be addressed. Curtis, do you think we signed someone before July 1st? Probably Kepa. Probably Kepa, you know? Is the one that probably happens first. But Ryan said Klarna is only paying free. 68 million was too much. Yeah, they couldn't get that on the pay monthly. Are you going to come to Hong Kong this July while the North London Derby happens? The planning is in motion at the moment. Darth Shaw, you know, what a name. Big up finding trophies with a super sticker. And Jorge said, if he buys Watkins, he has to go. I will be done. Let's get into the striker conversation. Gyokeres, Sesko, Ollie Watkins. This is the main part of the show. By the way, people, just a couple of things before we get into that. First of all, big up to everyone who tuned in for the Saturday night stream. We're 37 subscribers away from 95k. If we could hit that during this stream, it would be amazing. There's 2,300 of you in the chat. I'm sure there's 37 people that aren't subscribed to the channel. Let's hit 95k today. Then we're only 5k away from the big 100. John Cross, who, do we believe him that much? Not really. However, he's come out with a story in the Mirror today and said, Arsenal are pursuing deals for both Victor Gyokeres and Benjamin Sesko in their search for a new striker. He also talks about Ollie Watkins, and we're going to get to that story. He says that Berta is negotiating both deals at the same time. All right? Both deals at the same time. Now, I want to ask your opinion on this because we're very excited that Berta came in. Fantastic record at Atletico Madrid, not Real Madrid. Signed strikers like Falcao, Griezmann, Diego Costa, top players, Alvarez. A couple of them haven't worked, of course. The likes of João Felix, who was costly. Thomas Lemar, obviously not a striker, but big money, hasn't really been great. But he's had a lot of big signings and quality strikers. Is it damaging to negotiate two strikers at once? Because are you putting one of them off by negotiating for the other one? Are we actually hurting ourselves by putting it out there in the media that we're trying to negotiate these two? It all seems very public. It all seems very public, and I feel like we're thinking we can play those two off each other. But we might actually be strengthening those two by making them know, okay, these are two strikers you want, right? So imagine if those two were talking to each other, Sporting Lisbon and Leipzig, and say, listen, we're gonna keep pushing the price up and force them to buy one of them and overpay. I just think it's all too out there. It's all too out there. Do you know what? Looking at this picture of Arteta, I'm so glad that the season is off right now. I do not miss Waffle Setting's press conference reaction. I cannot wait. Well, I can wait to not do those press conferences because, boy, they are stressful in themselves reading all that waffle. Look, he said, Big C, when you watch Gyokeres play, he plays like Xerxes on beginner difficulty. But when you look at Xerxes, bro, look at his numbers. What was he doing? I don't think he ever scored 20 goals. My thing with Arsenal is, listen, I prefer Gyokeres to Sesko. Some people prefer Sesko. Some people would rather not go for any of them. Some people would have said they'd rather take Victor Osimhen. I like Osimhen as well. I think this deal is huge for Arsenal in so many different ways. And I'll tell you why. Let's look at the fans. The fans need lifting. I don't care what anybody says. The fans need lifting, right? We need somebody that joins this football club and the fans get excited. We haven't had it for a long time. Declan Rice, a little bit, but I think we need an attacking player that lifts the fan base. And I do think it's important to have the fans excited and enthused for the new season. Second of all, the players. need lifting. And I know I'm picking and choosing little things here, by the way, but Declan Rice is liking loads of Victor Gyokeres' posts online, right? So the players are clued up. Do you think players aren't sitting at home now going, yo, man, came to Arsenal 2 years ago from West Ham, 100 million, desperate to win trophies. I ain't won nothing since I've been here, man. I won the Conference League with West Ham. I ain't even been in a cup final for Arsenal. Yo, this brother Gyokeres, man, I've been DMing him, and you think footballers don't talk? You think they don't see what we see? You're right, J Dime. Decker said in January we need players. He said it in January, so imagine what he's thinking now. So the players are sitting there going, yo, man, we just need a goal scorer, man. We get that goal scorer, we got a chance. So the players need it. Then you're looking at Berta and Arteta. Berta has been brought in to help Arteta, but to give him that bit of guidance and that experience. If we sign Sesko, we know that Arteta is the dominant force again when it comes to transfers. And I'm not saying a manager shouldn't have the final say, because I think it's very difficult for a manager to work with players that he doesn't want. However, there has to be some adaptability in the way we operate. Otherwise, there was no point bringing Berta to the football club. You might as well have kept Jason Ato or kept Edu if Arteta was just going to dominate everything. The whole point of Berta was, listen, Arteta, you've done well, you've progressed, but you haven't won major trophies. We've given you an elite sporting director. You have to lean on him and take his advice and experience and maybe change your direction of thought. This is why when people keep telling me, and I've spoke about this many times, when people keep saying Sesko fits the system better than Gyokeres, I keep saying maybe Arteta needs to adapt that system. I don't think we actually need to sign a player where you go, oh, it fits the Arsenal system. I think Arteta needs to adapt that system in order to help us get over the line. When we signed Aubameyang from Giroud, nobody said, oh, he doesn't fit our system because he's a poacher and he plays on the shoulder. Yet Giroud's a 6'3" target man who plays with his back to goal. Nobody said that. Nobody said that. People just said, yo, he's an upgrade on the striker we've got. We've got to adapt to him. Good teams are adaptable. Good teams are adaptable, people. Players are adaptable. Rafinha was signed to play on the right at Barcelona. He goes on the left. He has his best season of his career. Simple as that. Times change. Players change. Good teams can adapt. Aguero up front. They win the league. False 9 up front. City win the league. Haaland, 6'4" target man. They win the league. You can be adaptable. You can win titles. Good players will adapt when you've got a system that isn't rigid, that allows freedom to express yourself. And that's what Arteta needs to do. So the people who are going, yeah, but Gyokeres plays the width for the 18-yard box. His link-up's not as good as Sesko. It doesn't matter. Arsenal need a goal scorer. I think we can all agree on that. Arsenal need a goal scorer. 9 goals was our top goal scorer. That's unbelievably poor. This guy's numbers don't care about anyone's opinion. People saying to me, that's your opinion. Okay, the fact is that Gyokeres is proven in the last 2 seasons. Sesko is unproven. So let's work with what looks like it's working. But we'll see. We will see. I just think it's a risky ploy to publicly negotiate for 2 strikers. Juve in for Gyokeres, 11 million a year. I'm not worried about Juventus. If Arsenal want Gyokeres, I think they'll sign him, regardless of the competition. Man United, Juventus, I think he'll come to us over all them clubs. The problem is whether we want him and whether we're prepared to pay what it's going to take to get him. That's the bigger question. David said, the weather is great. Wow, what a weather. Transfers, who is that? Oh, bro, I mean, we got a heat wave in England this week, so I'm trying to enjoy the weather. I want to see some signings, man, please. Red Dust, in other circumstances, most people would understand calling for calm and patience. Now, let's be real. The Champions League will not be easier next season, and the Premier League highly depend on a good start from the team. Yeah? As I said, bro, I've been on the last 3 tours. And last year's tour was the worst tour from the football point of view. It was the worst one. The belief in the fans and the general feeling, it just didn't feel like we were going to win the title. It was like, yo, we're on tour. We haven't got one new signing on tour. And we were dilly-dallying on Marino and Calafiori, and I was like, we're dragging out signings of players that are not even at a super high level. Like, when are we going to actually buy a star player, and get them done early and show that aggression? James said, inspired by some of these stream chats, I've set up a football shirt side hustle. Some of my collection are live on JT shirts if anyone's interested. Hey, big up, bro. Big up. Make sure you go and check. Where is that? Is that on Insta or YouTube? Where is that? Let the people know, James. Marco said, Curtis, my bro. My bro's theory is that Arteta is stopping the Gyokeres deal from completing fast. I don't think Mikel wants him, to be honest, at least not his priority. And like I said, it's not factual, but for me, I think from what we're reading, Mikel wants Sesko. I think that's what he wants. And listen, if he signs Sesko, I hope it works. I hope it works. Whoever we buy, I hope they rip the league apart. But I think he's got to change his philosophy a little bit. You look at the signings that he's made. Has he ever really signed a massive, massive player since he's been the manager? Even you look at Declan Rice, right? He cost 100 million. But you're talking about a midfielder from West Ham. And I'm just speaking facts here. He came from West Ham, mid-table team in the Prem. We're still bigger than Declan Rice. And I'm not saying any player is bigger than Arsenal. But I'm saying what big player has he ever signed? I mean, Odegaard came from Real Madrid, but he was a squad player at Real Madrid. So he didn't walk in the door with that big reputation like, yo, I've come from Real Madrid. He was like, I'm happy to be playing first team football. And even the other signings, they're all... What I mean is, I feel like all the signings that he makes, they come from situations that feel like they're lower than Arsenal. So when they come to Arsenal, there's an appreciation that, wow, I'm happy to be here. So I'm not going to put anyone's nose out of joint. That you're signing players from inferior leagues or situations where they're still developing. That's why I think he wants, again, a player like Sesko, because he'll be a lot more behaved. He's going to be happy. I can't believe I'm playing for Arsenal. Gyokeres knows, yo, there's 3 or 4 big clubs in Europe desperate for me right now. If I come to Arsenal, don't play around. So I think Arteta's got to change that mindset that, listen, to win trophies, you need big players in your squad with big egos. Look at who's winning at the moment. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Inter Milan, Liverpool, Manchester City. Big egos, big personalities. Lautaro, Barella. PSG, Dembele, Kvaratskhelia, all they're big names. Bellingham, Mbappe, Salah, Haaland. You've got to sign those kind of players. You can't avoid those players. You've got to get these players in. We need one. We need one at least this summer. But we'll see what happens with that. Let's talk about the plan. Well, is this plan B or plan C? I'm trying to remain calm. The weather's there. Summer's here, off season, bit of NBA, bit of Club World Cup, blah, blah, blah. What's wrong with this B Blanco? Bro, there ain't no Fabrizio Bomba. We ain't agreed nothing. Relax, man. Hold a time out as well, because you've put that in the chat about 30 times. And there ain't no Bomba, bro. Relax yourself. Anyway. Oliver. I'm not talking about Laurel and Hardy. Oliver Watkins. I mean, listen, he's not a bad player. We all know what... To me, I've said many times on this channel, Ollie Watkins is a decent player. In January, if we'd have signed Ollie Watkins, I would have gone, okay, I'll take that. I wasn't excited, but I'd take it. We had no striker. Watkins, all right, cool. But let me tell you now, I've heard so many times that Project Youth are, we're not sure about Gyokeres because he's 27. Okay, so we'll buy a 29-year-old instead. We buy a 29-year-old instead. Who's 30 this year, by the way. Who's never scored 20 goals in the Prem. I mean, if they get... Arsenal have reignited their interest in Aston Villa's Ollie Watkins for a potential summer 2025 move. The 29-year-old England striker, a lifelong Gunners fan, is keen on joining Mikel Arteta's squad. Villa may consider offers of around 50 to 60 million due to PSR constraints. As I said, he's not a bad player. I remember saying on this show about a year ago, year and a half, I said, Ivan Toney is a pit bull, Ollie Watkins is a poodle. Toney had a bit of swag, a bit of ego, a bit of personality. You know what I mean? He tweeted stuff when he scored against Arsenal, playground and all that. This guy, you can just tell. Oliver, come in for your dinner, Oliver. Say goodbye to your friends. You know, Oliver Watkins. Ivan Bloodclot Toney. You know the difference, people. You know the difference. Listen, good player. I think he comes to Arsenal. I think he could score goals. But come on, bro. Come on, man. And that is bang on, by the way. Villa have PSR issues. Go and get Rodgers. That's what you do. You go and get Rodgers, bro, if Villa are in trouble. Drop a bit more and get the main midfielder that they've got, because I rate him highly. Come on, man. What are we doing here? We're trying to win the league, bro. People have to understand what we're trying to do. Because some people will be thinking, yo, why is he being so... Or, I rate Watkins. Because, listen, I think Watkins is a good player. I actually think Watkins is a good player. He's better than any striker that we've got. So, in theory, you could say I'm contradicting myself. He's better than any striker at Arsenal. But he does not win Arsenal the Premier League or the Champions League. And that's all I'm interested in now. Some people might be aiming for different targets. Yeah, if he wins a trophy next year or wins an FA Cup, I'm happy with that. I've heard people say that. Fine. I never disregard people's opinions. Watkins could probably win us the FA Cup. And he probably would get 15, 16 goals at Arsenal. But Watkins ain't winning Arsenal a league title, people. Premier League title is what we're going for. We have to shoot for the stars now. We're in year 6 of this process. Realistically, the year Arteta took over, and I know I always mention this guy's name, but, you know, this is the last star player we had, top star player. In year 1, he had Aubameyang, and in year 6, after spending nearly $1 billion, you're going to give me Ollie Watkins. Ollie Watkins ain't better than Aubameyang. So how 6 years later are you going to be in a worse position? Life is about progression, people. If I see you now, and then I see you in 2031 in 6 years' time, I hope you've got a better car. I hope you've got more savings. I hope you're living better. I told you, we spoke about it on the stream the other day, growing up. Going to quick save, drinking tap water. Tough times. As you get older, you say, yo, no more tap water. Go and get me that Evian. Go and get me that Fiji water. You know what I'm saying? I ain't drinking no more tap water with all that fluoride or whatever's in there. You're supposed to progress, man. Year 1, I can't be having a Aubameyang up front, and year 6, you're delivering me Ollie Watkins. I want to repeat to people, the most informed striker in Europe wants to come to Arsenal. Take advantage of it. You can afford bottled water. Why are we drinking out the tap? We're trying to drink out the tap. We got 50 bottles of Fiji water in the fridge. We're drinking tap water. We don't need to live like this anymore, people. We don't need to live like this anymore. No disrespect, because I suppose it sounds like I'm calling Ollie Watkins tap water, but yo, we've been through a lot for this. Callum Wilson scoring with his tooth hanging out. Tottenham nicking top 4 offers under Conte. Finishing 8th, no European football for a year. 3 title challenges. Only to see City win 2 of them and Liverpool win the other. You know what I'm saying? Marino and Havertz up front. Sterling. Raheem Sterling. We've been through a lot, man. Surely we deserve a big striker signing that excites us all, man. Come on. MJ said, Ekatike looking like a young Henry. I'm warming to it. You know, whether Man United are linked to up front, I love the way MJ hypes them. I respect it. The game is shameless. The game is shameless, you know. Big up, people. We're 20 away now from 95k. No, Sports Genius, I'm taking it personal. We've waited years for a striker. Years for a striker. So I want us to get a really good one. One that excites us. One that we think, yo, he could potentially give us a title. Casual Gamer said, Curtis, if you analyse Gyokeres closely, you'll notice he's a transitional striker. Doesn't suit possession-based football. He will struggle at Arsenal. So was Aubameyang. Go and watch most of Aubameyang's goals at Dortmund, counter-attack. Halfway line through ball. Spamming the triangle button on the PlayStation. I'm telling you now, people have to understand players are adaptable. The guy played in the Championship at Coventry where the game was a lot slower. He was hold-up play, back to goal, possession. It wasn't transition. Players are not raised to play one style of play. And a good manager shouldn't play one style of play either. To me, if they're going for Sesko, it's because he's massive and they want to spam crosses in. That's the only reason, to me, you can look at those two and go, I'm going to go for him. Because your plan is to put loads of crosses into the box. And he's 6'5", and he's better in the air than Gyokeres. To me, if you want that, go and get Osimhen, because Osimhen is actually a beast in the air. And he's got more mobility and finishing ability than Sesko. So go and leave both of these two if that's what you want. And go and get Osimhen. Go and get Osimhen if that's what you want. Because he's brilliant in the air. And he can run. And he can finish. So if that's what he really wants, I'd say don't get any of these two. Go and get Victor Osimhen instead. I'd rather have Osimhen than Sesko. But we'll see. We'll see. Well, we did put 20 long throw-ins in the Champions League semi-final away at PSG. I don't care about our system. Get someone in who scores goals, says Sam. Exactly. We need goals. If you need goals, get a goal scorer. I think that's my biggest point of everything. If you need goals, get a goal scorer. We often try and, we need a left back. So we buy a centre back that can play at left back in Calafiori, but then he's struggling defensively at left back because the Prem's rapid and he's not adapting, Same with Kivior. Kivior got a lot of criticism at left back. You look at Calafiori, a lot of Arsenal fans have criticised him this season, right? And said, he's not that good. But he's not a left back. Same with Kivior. When Kivior was at left back, I always used to say the one thing I'll let him off with, I haven't seen him play centre back that much. And when he went to centre back, he looked decent. He looked decent. So it makes you wonder. I mean, just as an example, we're being linked with this Jarrell Harto or Hato, left back. Well, apparently AC Milan are selling Theo Hernandez. And that is an actual left back. Maybe he's got a plan to move Lewis Skelly forward. I'm not sure. We don't appear to be in for Osimhen whatsoever. There's no links from Arsenal to Osimhen. Red Dust said hungry players that are obsessed about winning and convinced they can make a difference is what the club needs. We have a very good team, but some players are too comfortable and the focus seems to be elsewhere. I want the striker who signs for Arsenal to come in and say, if this works, we're going to win the title. I don't want a striker that comes in and says, give me 18 months and we're going to be cooking. I just need to settle in and learn the language and buy my house and understand the way this league works and the way this country is. And I tell you what, you give me 18 months, hey, I'll be on fire. We'll be going mental by then. I'm telling you. We need the guy that says, yo, I'm ready right now to go mad. Bro, in every walk of life, there's a person who's a little wild, a loose cannon, a little crazy, goes against the rules, but that man always comes through when it counts and delivers. That's what we need. You look at a lot of the top players, they've all got that little bit of edge. You know, there probably was the naughty kids in school that swung on the chair and threw paper airplanes, you know. We keep buying the nice kids that were sitting on the front row saying, "Hi, miss, do you want me to tidy up?" We don't want them. We need the rude boys at the back that had detention, that were just mad talented, but we need some of them. We need some of them, man. I'm telling you now. We got a nice classroom. Nice, well-behaved classroom. We need a few bad boys in the team. You know what I mean? Bruv, where you getting 125 million for Verts? It's 116 add-ons. I was talking in euros. You got it confused. Euros. 125 million euros. I love when people do that, you know. They get offended by the price. It's not 125, it's 116. Euros, pounds, it's around there. Big up, though. Nunes has shooting boots. What a name for a chat. Oh, Darwin. We'll probably sign Darwin Nunes. Dash says, big up to the community and yourself. C Unit, what do you think of Openda or Thuram from Inter Big C? Also, Bakayoko to cover Saka. Thuram, no. No. Don't rate him. His dad was the real OG footballer, mate. One of the best defenders I've ever seen. Marcus Thuram, no. Especially not as a first choice as well. I wouldn't mind as maybe a backup striker. And Openda, nah. Do you know what? Somebody put that the other day. They said Sesko's not even the best striker at his club. Openda's got more goals than him in the last 2 seasons, but that's a whole other conversation. He drifts wide a lot as well. MJ, in terms of Bakayoko, I would take him as a backup to Saka. He's decent. MJ, you might need to realise Kai was your gunman signing. Bro, that gun is a water pistol. That ain't no gun. Marianne, Gyokeres is my top choice, but if he flops, we're dusted. But you know the thing? I just look at it like this, right? You know, if you cut corners and things go wrong, you understand why. You've cheated yourself. You've cut corners. You've tried not to do this. Or if you do the right thing and the right thing doesn't work, are you ever going to question yourself and say, well, I knew I shouldn't have done that? Do you know what I'm saying? So what I mean by that is Arsenal need a goal scorer. Nobody scored 20 goals in the last 5 years. If you buy the most prolific goal scorer available in Europe, you've done the right thing. Because you need a goal scorer and you've signed the best goal scorer available. If it doesn't work, that's life. That's life. Sometimes things go wrong. Shevchenko went to Chelsea, didn't work. He was one of the best strikers in Europe. It happens. But if you sign Sesko and it goes wrong, people are going to say, well, why did you think it was going to go right? Because he's not even doing that well at his current club in a weaker division. So what makes you think he can go to a harder division under more pressure and score more goals? It just doesn't add up. So if it goes wrong, we will be dusted. But I won't sit here and go, oh, damn, we shouldn't have got Gyokeres. I'll go, well, they made the right decision. It didn't work. Maybe it's the system. Maybe there's a bigger issue than the striker. So that's where I'm at with it. Arsenal should be signing Isak, Osimhen, Gyokeres. 6 months ago, we were talking about we're going to go for Isak at the end of the season. Season finishes, the story disappears. The story just disappeared off the face of the earth. Oh, they got top 4, so we can't get him. Well, how do you know? Why don't you try and blow up the market? Liverpool have just blown the market up on 116 million, 125 million euros. They've blown the market up. They said, what? Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, City want Verts. Hold that. Cash. Cash money. Cash. Money talks, people. So why, if they can pay 116 million for an attacking midfielder, why can't we go and go, yo, Newcastle, you see that 125, hold that. And then he might get all crazy and transfer request, and who knows? But if you don't try, you don't know, do you? You don't know. Arteta play with Dino and avoids players like him. Maybe he was jealous. Because it don't make sense, bro. You played for PSG with JJ Okocha and Ronaldinho. Two of the most exciting, skillful players we've ever seen. Yeah? You play at Arsenal with Arsene Wenger coaching that pure silky football, yeah? And you then go and coach at Man City where Pep's got Sané and Sterling and Aguero as an electric front three. And you come to Arsenal and go, I tell you what, let's get the tallest striker possible and spam crosses it. See how that goes. I tell you, he copies Pep's homework. Pep said, listen here, yeah? I'm getting a massive striker. Haaland 6'5". He went, okay, I'm gonna get Sesko 6 foot. No, Haaland 6'4". He went, I'm gonna get Sesko 6'5". He's even taller. He went, okay, I'm gonna invert my left back and dominate midfield. He went, so am I. I'm gonna invert it as well. All right, I'll get my right back bombing on, dominate down the right hand side. Okay, I'll do that as well then. All right, I'll get Bernardo Silva to drift to the right, create an overload. Okay, I'll get Odegaard to drift to the right, create an overload. But guess what? It hasn't worked. We ain't won nothing. He's cleaning up, winning 4 titles in a row. We're going, well, we beat Real Madrid and scored 2 great free kicks. You gotta have your own style, man. You ever watch Cool Runnings? Sanka was trying to copy the Swiss. You can't copy no one's style. You gotta have your own style. Sanka keeps wanting to copy in the Swiss because the Swiss are having success. In the end, Sanka realizes you're Jamaican. And you remember when Diaz says if it looks Jamaican, talks Jamaican, then it damn well is Jamaican. And that's what Arteta needs to realize. We're Arsenal, bro. We're not Man City B team, bro. You know what I'm saying? Yo, I'm telling you, this is Cool Runnings, bro. The man needs to realize. Anyway, man. Big C, can I go early and say Arteta out? It's freedom of speech in this chat, people. Freedom of speech. You know, freedom of speech. Say what you like, say what you feel. Anyway, let's move on. But big up to everyone locked in. Appreciate the support. 2,700 of you in the chat. Kiss me lucky egg, you know what I mean? Sanka. Mayor said, big up C, great show, keep it up. The owners are content to maintain Arteta and use him as a shield against our fans, notwithstanding his negative impact on the club. This summer so big for Arsenal. And I'm trying not to overreact because if we get the right signings, then I will accept them making us wait. You'd rather wait for the right thing than get the wrong thing quickly. So if Arsenal make us wait till July and we're frustrated for another 2 weeks going, what's going on here, man? Every day, this, that, the other. And they get the striker we want and they get a top left winger and they get Zubamendi and you go, you know what, man? They got me vexed for June, you know, but yo, they delivered. We'll take that. What the problem is when they make you wait and then they don't even get what you want or what we need. That's when there's a problem. That's when there's a big problem. So I think it's crunch time this summer. I think it's crunch time. Get the likes up, people. Can we get 1,000 likes? We're 19 subscribers away from 95k. Come on, people. Let's get there during this stream. We're going to be rounding up in the next 5 minutes. Salman said, I think in training when Arteta was playing with these techie players, he was getting embarrassed. Now he doesn't like it. Yeah, you can just imagine Ronaldinho nutmegging him, can't you? And he's just thinking, you know what? When I'm a manager, anybody with skill, they are not playing for me. DG2 said, Cool Runnings, one of my favourite films. It's a classic. The classics never stop, right? How would you rate Leao and Sesko? I want us to sign Leao. Especially now that Rodrigo deal looks more unlikely to happen. Leao would almost be my top left wing target. To be honest, I just don't see an obvious left winger that significantly improves us if it's not Rodrigo, who looks as if he's going to be staying at Madrid. People name left wingers to me, and I'm just like, I'm not sure. Nico Williams, not convinced. Even Leao, listen, there's question marks in his game. I just think he's a game changer when he's at it. But you've got to improve his work rate. But I'm not convinced. Matoma, Lookman, Barcola, I mean, they're options. There's a few others, but That left wing market does not look great. Yeah, is that somebody told me that Martinelli's got like a Simpsons character on his arm or something? What's he got? I don't know if I thought he was joking me. Someone said Martinelli's got a Simpsons character. Oh my, Gabby. I mean, so it's actually true. I thought it was a joke, bro. Big up Sharky, man. Subscribed on a new account. Following you on 4. I did my part. I mean, does this sum up Martinelli's form of the last 2 years? And people go, it's a tattoo, who cares? But nah, listen, this is information and entertainment. It doesn't look like a real tattoo, though. Please, it's on holiday. It's one of them temporary ones. That looks like one of them tattoos, yeah, that when you was a kid, do you remember they had them, you could put £1 in the machine and twist it and you get a sticker tattoo. You put it on your arm. It'll stay on there till you wash it off. That looks like one of those. You can't tell me you paid cash money for that. Dope! To be honest, that kind of sums up Martinelli's performances the last 2 years, to be honest, man. Homer Simpson settings. Nah, man, listen, that don't look real. It can't be. Lay said if you've been to Rio before, that's what you get on the beach. Okay, we'll let him off. That can't be a real one. If it is real, I mean, listen, The Simpsons was a decent cartoon growing up, to be honest. Homer was quite funny, so, you know, maybe information and entertainment. Maybe he wants some entertainment to encourage his performances, you know. But, yeah, Homer Simpson on Martinelli's arm, people. It is what it is. I don't think that's a real tap, but even if it is, if it helps him play better, fair enough. Nico Williams. It's another guy that I'm just bored of talking about, bored of hearing about. All this hype for players that are not that good. I've realized that I'm now what the older generation were saying about football. But the difference is, when the older generation used to say back in their day, I actually grew up in a great generation, so they couldn't downplay that generation. Because we were running around with R9 and Henry and Zidane and Ronaldinho. The late 90s, early 2000s, it might have actually been the peak of football. So when our parents were going, oh, my generation, you know, Maradona and Cruyff, and they were great players. But I think if you look at a whole generation, that late 90s, early 2000s might be the pinnacle of football in terms of quality in each position on the pitch and the way the game was going. Because I don't know if I'm just getting old. Am I turning into like a Patrick Truman out of EastEnders? But these average footballers don't excite me. I'm not excited by Nico Williams coming to Arsenal. Oh, because he's quick. Okay, I like quick players, but he's not that good. He's not that good. And we're having to battle for these guys as well. This guy should be begging to come to Arsenal, but we're going to have to beg him to come to Arsenal because Barcelona want him and the money and blah, blah, blah. So, listen, maybe I got to move with the times, people. If you'd have said to me 15 years ago, left wingers, I wouldn't have even named this guy. This guy would be playing for Mallorca. 15 years ago. Now I'm hyping him up and going, I really hope Arsenal get him. We might have to give him 300 grand a week. Yo, bond this guy. Spanish I show speed. Leave him there. Go about your business. Go about your business, bro. Nico Williams is aware that Luis Diaz is Barcelona's priority target, is willing to adapt sportingly, financially and personally to move to the club. Arsenal, meanwhile, are bidding hard, for the player and offering a €9 million net annual salary, which neither Barcelona or Bilbao can match. So we're offering him more money again. Williams has asked for time to exhaust all options of joining Barcelona before considering clubs. I know Salman, he's a big fan of him. I just don't think he will be a crazy success in the Premier League. I think, right, in Spain at Barca, he will do well. Because I feel like, and tell me if I'm wrong here, I feel like when I watch lower teams play against your Barcelonas, your Bayern Munich, your Real Madrids, those sort of clubs, I feel like they turn up and go, their mindset is sort of, you know what? We play good football in Spain. We're going to try and play good football anyway today. Hope it works. If it don't work, we might get thumped. I think that's the mindset that I see in like Spain when I watch Spanish football. If I see a team in like the bottom five playing Barcelona, I watch them and I go, wow, they're tidy on the ball and they're passing it nice and they're good, and they get beat 5-0. They don't go away from what they're good at because they're playing a good team. In the Premier League, when you're playing a relegation battle team, they go, right, 10 players behind the ball, leave the striker at the top of the pitch by himself. Let's try and stop them from creating anything. And I just think in the Prem, Nico Williams will play against low blocks 75% of the time. Now, if he was keen to come to Arsenal, I might have a different attitude towards him. One, I'm not totally convinced by him, but two, we're almost having to beg this guy to come to us. So I think that's where my whole angle changes, because it's like, okay, you're a potential good player, you're 50 million. If you were, okay, I'll accept it. But the fact we're going, oh, if Barcelona don't want you, we'll have you. It's like, come on, bro, leave him. Leave him. Go and buy Leao. Go and buy somebody else. I understand having that mindset if it's Vinicius Jr. You know, if it's like Vinny Jr.'s leaving Real Madrid and, yo, he's going to them, but if not, we'll take him. I say, yo, wait outside, because that guy's a superstar, but he's treating us like we are Victor Gyokeres. Yeah, you're right. That's what we're doing to Gyokeres still. The football we play is so underwhelming. I think that some attacking players probably look at Arsenal's system and think, I don't want to play for that team. I'm telling you now. Arsenal are a very good team. We don't have a very good attack. And I think Arteta, even though he comes out and says all these players want to play for us, I think attacking players would still be looking at Arsenal sideways, because if I'm a left winger, I'm looking at Arsenal going, okay, who plays left wing for Arsenal? Martinelli. Well, 50% of his game, he runs back and defends. Does loads of defending. And he pulled his hamstring again this season, and he's gone backwards over the last 2 years. Who plays right wing? Saka. Okay, Saka's developing, but he tore his hamstring this season and constantly looks injured. Who plays up front? Kai Havertz. Laid out on the floor at Wolves, he was that tired, and then tore his hamstring. Aubameyang got worse, Lacazette got worse, and Nketiah didn't get any better. Marino was up front. Is Arsenal really a great club for a striker to want to play? Or a winger, an attacking striker? He's going to make you defend. He's going to make you drop deep. He's going to make you run all over the pitch. So I think some attacking players probably look at Arsenal and go, I don't know, I don't really like that system, and they're just putting loads of crosses in. So I think this is what I'm saying overall. I think Arteta has to be adaptable. Big up Joe Blythe, man. New member. Big up your damn self. He-Man said, I see pride. I see power. I see a badass mother who won't take no crap off of nobody. Once again, I see pride. Junior. You know, man. You know. Cool running settings, man. Big up yourself, He-Man. MT Base, new member. Stephen Island's grandmother, Martinelli, saying he works for Mr. Burns. Yeah. Some of his attacking has been similar. Casual gamer, our problem is we get forced out wide due to slow build-up. Zubi fixes that. Gyokeres loves left wing, which won't help centrally, which is where the problem lies. I'm interested. Sky Touche, whatever happened to we want players that want to play for the club? Yep. And Sky Touche, I'll take Lookman any day over this guy. Lookman is a player. I'm shocked that clubs aren't going for him. There's a release clause, had a few good years, done it in the Champions League, 60 mil. There's a few clubs that need left wingers as well. Man United could do with well, they got Cunha who drift to the left, but Chelsea need a left winger. Arsenal need a left winger. You could look at Man City probably need a left winger. I'm not convinced by Doku and Grealish will probably leave. So why are clubs not going for Lookman. I mean, he did struggle when he was in England, and he's done brilliant in Italy. So are they worried about maybe him not doing it in the Prem? I'm not sure. And Alberto said our attack hasn't looked great for 2 seasons. I think he's doubled down and made the defense so solid and structured, but it's been at the downfall of the attack. The wingers have to defend, the 2 DMs have to sit a lot of the time, and we don't attack as well. Big up to everyone locked in, man. We're only 12 away now from 95k. I'm gonna round up now. If you haven't subscribed, can we get there before we end the stream in 2 minutes? We'll read out a few comments, then we'll get out of here. Lookman is also Premier League proven. I mean, he didn't do very well in the Prem though. If you look at it, I think he was at Leicester, Fulham. I think Everton had him for a little bit. So you could almost say he's unproven in the Prem. He hasn't actually done that well in the Prem. McTominay is moving like Zizou in Italy. I think he got named Player of the Year in the Italian league. That is crazy. They were calling him McChicken Sandwich in England, and they're calling him MVP. It's crazy. It's mad what a different league can do to a player, isn't it? You know, you look at Lukaku, constantly gets dissed when he plays in the Prem. Oh, he plays in Timberland boots. He goes to Italy and he rips up the place. Yo, big up. Ant said he got the missus to subscribe. K Hayes, big up Don C. Arsenal making stupidness in the market, the world's most frustrating club. Let's hope they get something done quickly. The window is back open, and we want to see some signings. People, I want to thank you for giving up your time. 2.5k in the chat. Appreciate that. 12 away from 95k. Hopefully we hit that as this show goes out. Big up to everybody locked in today. Hit the like button on your way out, and I'll be back tomorrow. So big up, hit the like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all tomorrow, people. Bless.